time travel. What do you think our fascination with time travel is all about, and why do we keep exploring this concept? And I always ask too many questions in a row. And what can we learn from our desire to travel through time? Because it's so popular, especially with J.J. Abrams these days.
We all wish we could go back and change something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe go back and save a loved one, or avoid making a stupid decision, or avoid buying that Green Lantern movie ticket or something, you know. And you dream about sort of course correcting your life, right? Making little tweaks. But then if you stop and really think about it, you're like, well, everything you've been through makes you who you are, so maybe you don't really want to do that. But the future is this whole other thing, like just going forward and seeing what is the world like beyond my own lifespan or beyond what I can expect, you know, like what are we going to invent? What are we going to advance to? What's life going to be like?
When are we going to get a better Green Lantern
When are we going to get a better Green Lantern movie? Just that whole idea to go explore that is awesome. There's just so much fascination wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
And it's so personal.
Yeah.
Like my fascination is different from yours, it's different from Josh's, and it's universal to anybody. And I think it makes for fun storytelling because it kind of lets you break all the rules. You can kind of do whatever you want. You can recast people, you can completely change everything and go off in a new direction.
Right.
It also makes for potentially extremely confusing storytelling.
That it does.
Which this movie manages to avoid.
I think that we're actually fascinated more about, because if you were to ask somebody if they want to, you know, they travel in time, do they want to travel in the future or in the past?
Yeah.
I think it tends to be people wanting to travel to the future. And outside of being like, I would love to see, you know, the Adolf Hitler, like, you know, going down, or I'd love to see, you know, like all these cool historical things. I think people want to know who they will be.
Yeah.
I think that it's why certain people go to fortune tellers.
Yeah.
You know, like there's an intrigue in who we will become.
Yeah.
And for this, what's interesting about this film is that instead of going to the future, although they eventually do in the second one, they go to the past to see who we came from.
Right.
Which is a question not many people ask. Nobody. I didn't grow up thinking this. I don't know if you guys grew up thinking this, but you know, looked at your parents and went, were they cool in high school? You know, like nobody's really asking that question. Everybody just assumed that their parents were, you know, geeks and that they were the cool one. And then it comes to, you know, look at it and go like, maybe I should ask my mom who she dated in high school and what happened, you know? So I think that time travel, though, in general is just a really cool... It's a cool storytelling element, but like I said before, I think it's a storytelling element only to serve the real story, not necessarily to be, you know, the time machine or something like that. I think it works. The most successful times in which it's worked, it's only a vehicle to get to the real story.
Yeah, and that's what kind of why I even call it a gimmick. But I think some of our fascination with it, I totally agree with what you guys are talking about. It's interesting because I am one of the people that would probably travel to the past before traveling to the future, and I don't know why.
For yourself?
For me, yeah. For me, I would probably do that. Your point about the future is really a valid one. Like, we want to see what we become. I also think that there's a component of it for me where I think humanity also is looking for a reason of why things are the way that they are. Because we're constantly, we all can dream of a better world.
Right. And we're always validating choices that we're making.
Exactly. And since we can dream of a better world, I think part of us wonders, why isn't it just that way? Like, what's preventing it from being that way? The past can inform us of some of those reasons, or at least we can look for reasons like that in the past.
Right. But it'd be so much simpler if we built a time machine and just went into the future and went, we did it. We made utopia.
Right, exactly. Which would be interesting to see if that's even a possibility, right?
Yeah, right.
Because our science fiction generally revolves around either, like this film, why are things the way that they are? Why are my parents such geeks? Like, why is Biff pushing my father around? What should I do with my life based on what's come before me?
Right.
But then also there's this question of, and we see this a lot in science fiction, what's coming next? Is it dystopia or is it utopia, and why? And a lot of times, I mean, in films, because we want to see conflict and because we want to learn more about our current world, we don't see a lot of utopias because, by the way, that'd be super boring. Everything's perfect and then there's no conflict. Okay,
Right.
great.
Well, then you have Star Trek, and you just have to go find conflict on other planets.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You're onto something with, we all want to reverse the past mistakes that we've made. One of my favorite songs is the Johnny Cash version of Hurt, yeah, which is a Trent Reznor song.
Right.
And I think if you give it to Johnny Cash at the end of his life and ask him to sing it, it just gives the whole song a power that the Trent Reznor version doesn't quite have. It doesn't have that
Right.
gravitas, you know?
We don't have a whole life behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that whole song is about regret over choices made in life. And the if I could go back and do it all over again, I would do whatever I could to prevent myself from hurting both myself and the people around me. And I think that there's something in the human condition that because we make mistakes or because we make bad choices, at least I'll put it on me, because I do those things, I'm constantly feeling like, oh yeah, I really wish I had that shot over again. Like,
Right.
I really wish I could have gone back and like, that was dumb. I mean, even when I listen to this podcast, I'm like, what in the world were you saying, dude? Like, why did the words come out of your mouth in that order? Because that made no sense. So I think there's just this sense that like, oh, I could do it better. And I think the real truth is, you know, we can get better in life and we can get worse in life, but I don't know that we're ever going to be perfect. So